Hi guys, this is Shayna from YumiYarns.com, and today I've got a podcast episode for you. It's kind of my roundup of what I worked on in October and what my plans are for November 2024. I don't know if that matters, but anyway, sorry my hair's a little, I don't know what it's doing, but I'm glad to see you guys today. I know this one's going up a little bit later than I typically have been trying for, but we had an interesting weekend. We had Halloween, and then I got rear-ended, and it's okay. It was really mild and everything's good. Nobody's hurt, everybody's good. But that kind of threw everything for a loop this weekend. But I'm here, we're good, and I have things to show you. So first off, what I'm wearing is, this is Selena's cowl by Joji Locatelli. I got to be one of her test knitters for it, and I love the stitch pattern. I love the way it looks. It was really kind of hard on my hands to work. I don't know if it was just, I don't know if it was just like kind of the yarn gymnastics, I've got it upside down, that it felt like I needed to do for some of it. It's the V-stitch. I had never done the V-stitch before, and it's really easy. It's not cables or anything like that. It's a lot of like dipping down a couple rows, picking up a strand, and then just kind of moving that around, which it was really fun and really interesting to make. It just was a little bit hard on my wrists. So I had to take more breaks than I thought I would with this, so it took a bit longer. But I love the way it looks. I love the drape on this and how soft it is. So also, I've told you guys before that I'm kind of working down my stash yarns, and I went through last summer and organized a bunch of my stash into, basically I made a color palette for myself, and the yarns from a section of my craft room, because I may have yarn in multiple hidey holes throughout my craft room. So rather than trying to do all of it at once and being overwhelmed, I took one section, and the yarns from that section that fit into my fall color palette went into a bin, and I've been trying my best every time I start something new to only use yarns out of that bin. And for the most part, it's worked. I've had to justify a few purchases here and there, but for the most part, it's been really good, and I've made a really good dent in my stash, and I've used up some really old skeins. So like for this one, I was really excited because for a while there, I had a tendency to buy a lot of red lace weight. And I don't ever knit in lace weight ever, so I don't understand why I thought I needed all of this. But if you look closely, you can see there's a couple strands of kind of like a wine-colored, maroony colored red lace weight. That's, I think it's phyllo silk that I've had in my stash probably for like 15 years. Like, it has been a long time that yarn has sat in there. And so I held 2 strands of that because I had 2 skeins of that lace weight. And then I had a skein of the now discontinued Knit Picks Diadem in Ruby. No, I had 2 skeins of that, and that is a silk mohair blend. The phyllo silk is wool silk blend. So this is like, I don't know if you can tell, this is a very drapey cowl, and I really like it because the wool gives it a little bit of stretch, and then the alpaca gives it this nice halo, and you can probably see that because it's a single spun for that diadem. It's a single ply. So it's really soft. It's 50-50 mulberry silk and alpaca. I think it's baby alpaca too. It's really soft and I really like it. And so those 2 yarns held together is like, that was perfect for this because you need a DK or a worsted weight, like a heavy DK light worsted weight yarn for this pattern, which it is available now. It's out on Ravelry, so I'll link that down below if you guys are interested. It was a really fun pattern. I just don't, my thoughts are, don't go into it like I did where you're like, oh, it's a cowl, I'll be able to knock that out in a couple weeks and it'll be good. Just enjoy the process. It's really a fun pattern. It's very, very wearable. It's very cute. Joji has a picture where she has it wrapped around her head and then over her head, like she has it wrapped around her neck and then over her head, kind of like snood almost, like yeah, it's kind of like a hat scarf combo. It's really cute the way she has it styled. That does not look cute on me, so I'm not wearing it that way. I'm just wearing it doubled over and wrapped around, and it tucks into your coat really nicely, and I just love infinity scarves anyways. So that's what I'm wearing. It's Selena's Cowl by Joji Locatelli in a whole bunch of yarns that are probably difficult to get because they've been in my stash for an eternity. Like, I'm pretty certain that diadem was in my stash for like 10 years. But it's okay, it's used up now, and that's really exciting. It's fun to use our stash, right? So moving on, I've got some whips to tell you about. I've got some finished projects. I actually finished more than just one thing, guys. Aren't you proud of me? And I have a couple new things to show you that I'm really excited about. So first off, my finishes are very minimal, but they are there. So we're gonna go through finishes first. So obviously I have my Selena's Cowl by Joji Locatelli. And then I wove up a couple dishcloths. On my last episode, I kind of was telling you, or my last podcast episode, I was kind of telling you guys about the weaving, the square loom that I was working on for weaving, and it's just a small little one, but it's fun. It's bigger than a Zoom loom, but still very portable and lap size. And I had learned the continuous weaving method on it. So I wanted to try some washcloths because it's a good size for washcloths, I feel, because washcloths, they always shrink up after you wash them a while. And I don't know, this is a nice size, I think. So for this one, I just held 2 strands of Knit Picks Dishy together. I think it's Kanai and Swan are the 2 colors. And yeah, I didn't pay attention to which ones were crisscrossing or what they were doing. I also had a little assistant helping me, so there wasn't a whole lot of detail attention time with this one. It was just kind of a put it together and see what happens. It is still pretty loose and drapey. I don't know if you can see that there's still, yeah, you can see there's still some holes in between the strands, so it's not like a super tight weave. And I haven't washed it or blocked it or anything like that. I literally just pulled it off the loom and have had it sitting and waiting for this episode. And after this, I'm gonna start using it because I'm very excited. I did have to confiscate it from my little helper. My toddler really, really likes helping me with the weaving now, and he decided that this cloth was his, so he took it for a while and we recently found it again. But then after that one, I wanted to try playing with the loom some more and seeing if I could do, like, what would happen if I did 3 strands and paid attention to overlapping or not overlapping strands. So I did another cloth, and again, this one hasn't been washed or blocked or anything, but you can really see like how the strands are laying really nicely and tightly together. It's still not like tight, like you can still see there's some holes in between where they crisscross. And you can tell this middle section, one, I was getting really tired. It was like 2 in the morning when I was finishing this. And 2, it was really, really tight and difficult to get the strands through on those last few rows. Because with this weaving method, you're weaving diagonally. So this last chunk here was really difficult. So I kind of gave up on paying attention to making everything lay nice. And I do wish that I would have, because I paid such close attention over here and the fabric looks so nice and smooth. And then up through here, it's just kind of lumpy bumpy and not as fun, but it's okay. It's a washcloth, and the whole point was just to play around and see what would happen. So I'm, you know, not too terribly concerned. It still works as a washcloth. So those are all of my like completely finished objects, which is very fun. I do have kind of a half finished object that initially I wasn't planning on starting, and then I was like, oh, that's right, that yarn is in my box of yarn to use. So years ago, probably like 8 or 9 years ago, I bought this yarn from my local yarn store. It's Knitted Whip Pixie Plied, and I bought it with the intention of knitting Halloween socks while we were trick-or-treating. I wanted to be knitting on them while we went trick-or-treating with my little kid. And never cast it on because that year he had a fully homemade costume and I was busy working on that. I mean, it was still pretty simple. It was a construction worker outfit that we basically just like stapled a few things onto a vest and called it good. But it was still work because he was like 2 or 3, so it was a lot of wrangling still. So I never got my yarn caked up, and each year since I've been like, oh yeah, I should make my Halloween socks. But then I kind of forget about the yarn, or I couldn't find it, or you know, something came up. And then once Christmas rolled around, of course I would find the yarn. I'd be like, oh, that's right, I was gonna do that. And so long story short, I'm very excited. I finally got my Knitted Whip Pixie Plied. I think it's in the Great Pumpkin is the colorway. But I got that caked up, and I actually got the first sock completely knit in a couple days. The heels, toes, and cuffs are actually in Destination Yarn. I think it's just called Silver Shiny in their Noir colorway. So both of these yarns are very, very sparkly. And it's harder to see on the Great Pumpkin, but I think you can still see it a little bit. I love the way that the yarn spiraled, because these are just vanilla socks. So the colorway just spiraled around the leg and the foot and everything. You can tell there's a couple areas where my tension changed. And part of that is because I started reading a book while I was knitting. So the Harry Potter group that I do online knitting game with, it's the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup on Ravelry if you want to come join us. It's really fun. It's very low key, but this semester we are going through some different alternate fairyland world things and exploring other enchanted realms. That's what it is. And it's super fun because there's like Narnia and the Enchanted Forest with like Hansel and Gretel and you know, just a whole bunch of other kind of fairy tale enchanted realms that the classes that we submit our projects to are based off of. And it's all very fun. If you like a light role-playing sort of game online and forums, come join us. It's fun. Everybody's really nice, and it's just good fun. And it's really a nice way to get projects done and I don't know, feel like you can share with a group without being spammy about it. Because everybody wants to see your projects because you have to turn them in for class. Anyways, that's totally off topic. But one of the class themes for the semester in that game is in the realm of Pern. I can't talk. In the realm of Pern, which, if you are unfamiliar, there's a whole series of books called The Dragon Riders of Pern, and it is amazing. There are, I believe, 22 books in the series, and they're very good. They're well written. The author, Anne McCaffrey, has since passed away, and her kids have written a couple books. I haven't read any of the ones that her kids have written, but the ones that I've read from Anne, I absolutely love. And so I downloaded the ebook of the first book in the series, which I believe is called Dragonflight. And I read that book for the first time in high school, and I've actually read that book probably 3 or 4 times since then. And I don't reread books very often, but downloading and reading that one while I was knitting on my vanilla sock. It's been a long time since I did just a vanilla sock with fun yarn that I'm excited about. And I did it after everybody else was in bed. I can't even tell you how good it was. Like, that is my happy place, 100%. Just sitting quietly, working on my sock, and getting completely immersed in a book series that I love without any interruptions for a few hours while everybody else is sleeping. That is so good. If you have little kids, you probably get it. If you don't have little kids, I hope you get it too. Like, having that time where you can just do your thing and really get into it is amazing. And I absolutely loved it. And so these socks are very, very much comfort knits, and I absolutely love them. So I got the first sock done. I finished it up Halloween night and I started the second sock. And if you guys are interested, I could do a little tutorial on how I taught myself to read and knit at the same time. Maybe it would help if you're interested in learning how to do that too. But yeah, so we are partially done with the second one. I think we are. So I made the leg to match the length of the foot, and we're probably about a third of the way there. So getting there. I just need to sit and read a little bit more, I guess, while I'm knitting. But yeah, I'm so excited about those. They're very, very much bringing me a lot of joy right now. And then the other thing that is very exciting that's happening. So this is another new cast on since the last podcast, and not one that I'd mentioned at all. It was not on my radar. It's gonna be crinkly for a minute, so I apologize. But Arne and Carlos, who have a YouTube channel here, if you don't know, I'll link it down below. They are a design pair from Norway, and I love their channel. They're fun. They're very comforting and cozy to watch. They're kind of silly and goofy, and I just like hanging out with them, even though, you know, I know it's YouTube, not in person, but I have gotten to meet them in person once or twice, and they are really, really wonderful. Like, it was a highlight of my trip when I got to meet them at Vogue a couple years ago. And so if you ever get the chance, take a class from them, go meet them. They're really just super nice. And I love their YouTube channel. Me and my oldest son, Cairo, have watched their channel for years now, and he loves watching them too because, I don't know, they're just good, fun people to hang out with. And they're, like I said, they're a little silly at times, which everything, you know, they're just having fun with it. And that's the whole point of knitting, right? To have some fun with it while you're making something pretty. But anyways, Arne and Carlos are super into Christmas stuff, which we also are very into Christmas stuff at our house. Both of my kids, their birthdays are in December. One is December 20, one is December 21. And so far, both of them are very, very much into Christmas. And so I really like that Arne and Carlos get super into Christmas too. They always have some sort of Advent knit-along thing that they do. And last year they did a mystery stocking knit-along, which I did have to miss on because our December was really busy and crazy with both boys' birthdays and all the stuff. But this year they had a really good idea. They're doing another mystery stocking knit-along. However, instead of doing it in December, they're running it in November so that you aren't stressed out trying to get all the holiday stuff done and knit your stocking and all the things. And this way you get a finished stocking in time for the holidays so you can hang it up and have fun. So I picked 3 yarns from Stash, from my bin, which was very exciting that I found 3 that would work. They're not traditional Christmas colors, but they are really pretty and wintry. So this one is not showing up very well. There we go. This one is from Toad Hollow. It's called Dementor's Kiss. It's from their Harry Potter collection a few years ago. It's a really, really dark bluey purple with some bits of black. And then this one, and this is just a sock yarn. This one is Cascade Eco Alpaca Undyed. So it's very fluffy and it's a DK weight. Oh, this one's a fingering weight sock yarn, by the way. And then, throwing yarn at you, sorry. And then this one is Madeline Tosh Light plus glitter. I can't remember what the actual name is. Tosh Merino Light. How did I forget that? So it's Tosh Merino Light plus glitter, and it is very sparkly. But this one's just kind of like a light blue with some speckles of other kind of pinks and purples and blues and stuff. But they're very mild speckles, so it's really closer to a tonal. But between the three of them, I do feel like it's knitting up very, very wintry. I've knit through day 3, so if you're doing it or if you want to keep the surprise, look away for a minute, because I'm going to show what through day 3 looks like of the clues right now. It's not super high contrast for the light blue. I'm using the dark blue in place of the green. The white obviously is the undyed, and then the red is the light blue. But yeah, the light blue is a more subtle contrast, but it's still there. And I don't know, I'm really liking the way it's knitting up. I'm excited to move on to the next bits of the pattern. I like that the fingering weights I'm holding double because you need DK weight yarn for this pattern. But this way, I had enough yardage from those skeins that I was able to do it this way, and I'm really happy with how it's knitting up. It's very squishy. The alpaca has a little bit of a halo, so it's kind of softening it up a little bit. You get a little bit of the sparkle coming through in that light blue. And then, you know, the dark blue, I felt like that was a good color for the toe, because I did struggle a lot trying to decide if I wanted to do the light or the dark blue for the toe. And have like which one was going to be in place of the green. And I decided to go with the dark blue because, I don't know, it felt like that would feel like a more balanced stocking, I guess. I think because the contrast between the white and the light blue is so minimal, I'm glad that I didn't do the toe in that color, because I feel like it would have gotten lost in this transition. Whereas having it just bits throughout the pattern is a bit nicer, in my opinion. And then I did make a couple modifications to how they had done it. They did a lifted increase on the toe, and when I was knitting Selena's cowl, Joji actually has an alternate way of doing a lifted increase where you're not dipping down and picking up a bar between the stitches. You actually the row before you're going to do your increase, you knit a yarn over where the increase will be. So you add an increase that way through a yarn over. But then on the next row, you just knit through the back loop on the yarn over. It cinches it up, and it essentially makes the same increase as doing a lifted increase. And I don't know, hopefully you can see that with the lighting, and that's a really dark blue. But hopefully the lighting's hitting it enough where you can see how smooth the increases are there. And then instead of doing, I can't remember what they recommended for the toe, for the starting point, I did Emily Acker's circular cast on, which you use a crochet hook, and if you've ever made amigurumis, it's very similar to a magic circle in crochet, where you basically cast on your stitches onto a crochet hook, put them onto your needle, and then when you're casting them onto the crochet hook, you're actually working around into... Hi, sorry about that. My camera was full, but we fixed it. So that is the mystery stocking from Arne and Carlos. It is free right now. It's free while they're running the Mystery Knit Along. So you just have to go to their blog each day and get the pattern. And then each day they're doing a video upload to kind of go along with it. And they always tell like a goofy little story. Yesterday, the joke this year, they pre-recorded it, I'm assuming sometime in the summer, because yesterday they had a cow that was mooing very loudly in the background, and Arne kept commenting on it, and Carlos was like, no, there's no cow. It's winter. It's November. Shh, there's no cows in November. It's a moose. And I don't know, it was just very funny. So highly recommend going and checking that out. Have fun with it. Just, I don't know, it's fun getting into the holiday spirit a little bit early, even though it's still fall out and everything. I was really excited to see that they did that. But yeah, and then I've got a couple other quick updates. I've got the Bisgrim sweater that I've been working on for my littlest one. It's almost done. So the pattern is lovely. It's really well written. I love working on this up until this. So this is, there's nothing wrong with the knitting. The yarn is still lovely. The knitting's, like, the pattern is great. I am just being a little stubborn and cheap, I guess. I really need a 24-inch needle, and I just have not had time to go buy a 24-inch needle in this size because I don't have one. I think it's a 2.5 millimeter needle that I'm using on this, and as you can see, it's tight when I'm trying to knit on this. But thankfully, I just finished the color work last night, so I just have the ribbing at the bottom, and then I'm done with the body of the sweater. And that's one of the reasons that I haven't gone and bought new needles for it either, is because I'm like, oh, well, it's almost done. It's almost done. Why would I go and buy new needles for that tiny little bit? We'll see though. I do have a set of really long DPNs that I gotten with my knitting belt a couple years ago. And so I thought maybe I would put it on those and finish knitting it up. We'll see though. Right now I'm just working on a couple rows a day because the pattern's already been released. I'll again link that down below too. It's beautiful. I love it. Highly recommend that pattern. It's very, very well written, and the designer is really super nice. Her name is Nash, and she's got the bigger kid size of that pattern in testing also, so that should be released soon too. So if your kid is above a toddler, because I think I've got the biggest size that I'm working on right now. Sorry, knocking things over. And it's gonna fit my toddler really well. So that one is super fun. I really love that one. It's a great pattern. And I am probably going to make that one for my older kid too, once that larger size is released. And then I think this is the last whip that I'm going to talk about. I think I am not going to be signing up for test knits for a while. They're really fun. I love them. I am really, really, really bad at deadlines, I've discovered. I think like, oh, I'll be good. I can do that. And then I don't. And it's very stressful and I don't like it. I like the test knits. I love getting to work with other designers and see how they run things. And I like seeing how other people are responding to the test knits and different things like that. It kind of has helped me out a lot with figuring out how I want to do my test knits. But I feel bad not being able to finish things that I've signed up for that way. But this was test knit that I believe the pattern is possibly going to be out by the time this episode goes up. But it is the Angelica pullover by Silvana Knitwear. And I'm using the Rauma garn, and this is their Finial colorway, or not colorway, base. So it's a fingering weight, kind of a light fingering weight. Honestly, it's pretty similar to Palette from Knit Picks if you've used that. And this one, it doesn't have like a official name. It just says Dark Red Heather, which that explains it very well. It's this really beautiful burgundy color. It's very lovely yarn. I really like this one. It is more expensive than Palette, but to be honest, I would much rather knit with this one. Just because, I don't know, I like the hand of it better. And I think it is a little bit more plump than Palette is. But this is a really fun stitch pattern. It is cables, but it's only a 4-row repeat, so it's pretty easy to memorize. To be honest, the only reason that I'm not farther on it is because I was cleaning and I put my project downstairs while I was cleaning and then forgot to bring it back up and kind of forgot that it was down there. And that is another reason why I'm not a good tester, because I sometimes just do too much. But anyway, if you like the pattern, it is really lovely. It's a really pretty pullover. There's a lot of finished tester projects for that one that are absolutely gorgeous. So I'll link that one down below too if it's available. Otherwise, once it is available, I'll come back and link it down below. But now for upcoming projects. Obviously I'm going to keep working on my socks, but then I also am currently running a test knit for the Magic Fringe bandana, which I'm going to have this one more for, so backstory, my sister asked if I would make her something for Christmas, and we were talking about it, and she liked my Magic Fringe shawl, but she wears a lot of bandanas and her dog wears a lot of bandanas. And so we were thinking that it would be really cute for Christmas if I made them kind of matchy bandanas where the colors were swapped. So we're taking the Magic Fringe shawl pattern and converting it into a bandana pattern. So it's much smaller, quicker to knit up for the holidays because it is a fingering weight project. But these are the yarns that my sister picked out from my stash for her bandanas. Well, her and Toki's her dog. These are the yarns that she picked out, and they are both from Colorful Eclectic, who I don't think she is dying anymore. These ones I bought from her at Zombie Knit Apocalypse, I believe in 2019. I'm pretty certain it was before pandemic that I got to get these ones from her. This one is called Olive Juice, and this one is Tiger's Eye, which they're very aptly named. And one of the bandanas will have Tiger's Eye as the main color, and the other bandana will have Olive Juice as the main color. And I actually bought these two yarns because I wanted to knit them up into something together. I thought they paired very nicely. And so now I'm very excited that I get to make them into a present for my sister. So that will be fun. Right now I still have the application open for testers, so I'll link that down below. If you can't fill it out, that means it's closed. Sorry. But it's a pretty quick test knit with this one because it is a pretty quick project. So the pattern itself, I'm planning on releasing it the 21st of November. So if you don't want to do the test knit, totally fine. The pattern will be out November 21st. I don't foresee any hiccups with the pattern really because it pairs right along. I've got the Magic Fringe shawl and the Magic Fringe poncho. And they all use kind of the same stitch patterns and techniques and everything. It's just different amounts of yarns and different sizing. It does have mosaic in it, so if you're doing the Young Folk Knits Mosaic Mayhem knit along that is running through the end of the year, it will qualify for that. And it would qualify for bonus points in the Pigskin Party hosted by Boston Jen of the Down Cellar Studio podcast. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today, guys. So keep an eye out for that. There will be a special discount at release. So If you're not a member of my newsletter, go ahead and sign up. I've got that link down below also, and you'll find out when the pattern comes out, you'll get the discount, all the things. And right now, until this pattern comes out, the Magic Fringe poncho and the Magic Fringe shawl are both 25% off for newsletter subscribers. And you get that discount right away when you sign up. I'll send you the email with the info and everything. So yeah, so it'd be fun if you wanted to come join our Magic Fringe party. And last section, sorry, I'm knocking things over, of today, I do have some acquisitions and I'm very excited about these. So with the Mosaic Mayhem knit along that Casey from Young Folk Knits is hosting, I wanted to do one of the pressed flowers patterns. So I was looking on Knit Picks for some ideas, and they have recently come out with this yarn, which is called Sandscapes. It's listed as a fingering weight, but it is very, very similar weight and design wise and everything to a Koigu yarn that has been used in a couple different projects for the pressed flowers. Sorry, for the pressed flowers cardigan. So I thought this would work really, really good. And look at all those colors. This is the Oasis colorway, and I just thought it was so fun. And to be honest, Koigu has some colorways that are similar to this, and this is like one of the colorways that I think of when I think of Koigu. I don't know if you guys see that too, but in my mind, that's like one of the Koigu color schemes. And Knit Picks did a pretty good job making a dupe of that one. It's definitely not the same. The Koigu one that I'm thinking of, I believe, has some silk in it, so it has some little slubby bits and a bit more texture, and it's a little bit grippier wool, if I remember correctly from feeling it last time, whereas this is a very smooth feeling single ply wool. So there is, going to be a difference that way, but color wise, and I think the way that it's going to knit up will be just fine for what I'm wanting to do with it. So that's going to be my color shifting color in the pressed flowers cardigan. But then I also got Wool of the Andes. No, it is not the superwash. It's just the regular in Midnight Heather. It looks black on the screen, but it's actually like a very, very deep bluey green black color. I think that's going to be a really good contrast with the Oasis Sandscapes. And then I got buttons. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you've ever tried Katrinkle's buttons. I love Katrinkle's buttons. They're so much fun. They come up with such cute little notions and things. And sorry about all the crinkling. This is the line pattern. I don't know if you guys can see with the glare, but it's just like little lines drawn into the button. And they're just little wooden buttons. They're just cute though. I just love them. So I thought those would be really cute on the cardigan. I felt like they had character, but they weren't too busy, and they were a good medium brown shade to go with all the stuff that was happening with the yarn and that will be happening with the pattern. Back in the day when I was selling knitting kits and stuff, like in, God, I think it was like 2017 or so, when I was doing knitting kits, I actually had ordered a few different types of buttons to include in various kits from Katrinkle's, and they are very sweet. They're really nice to work with. I really like supporting them, so I was really excited to see that Knit Picks is also carrying Katrinkle's buttons. I mean, obviously you can buy them from Katrinkle's, but if you're doing a Knit Picks order and you need some buttons, or you just need that little bit to get over the free shipping threshold, throw in some Katrinkle's buttons, or I think they had some other Katrinkle's goodies there too that are really fun. And Katrinkle's also has these stitchable buttons where it's like a heart, or I know they've done during the holidays, they've done like mitten ornaments and stuff like that, and little sweaters where you just take yarn and you stitch through the holes and kind of color in the sweater with yarn for the ornament, or same thing with the buttons, you can kind of color in the shape that you have, and it's just very cute, and you can really customize it to your project. But if you guys are interested in any Knit Picks stuff, I do have a code for you. I've got, I'm one of their affiliates, and so I do get a little bit of a kickback from if you make a purchase from them, which helps the channel a lot, so I would appreciate it if you used my link. But you also get 15% off this month if you use code AKPYUMI. When you do your purchase, you'll get 15% off. So that's the letters AKPYUMI. Will get you 15% off your purchase for the month of November, I believe. But yeah, I'm very excited. This is the only new acquisition that I had this month, but I think that'll be really fun. I do want to get a couple other things off my needles first before I cast on. So hopefully I'll have some progress to show you in next month's video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me for a bit today, and the crinkling wasn't too much. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And next week, I think this whole month we're going to kind of be going over techniques that are used in the Magic Fringe series of projects. So keep an eye out for those tutorials coming up in the next few weeks. And I hope you guys have a great day. Happy knitting, happy making, whatever you're doing. And I'll see you next time. Bye.